Hey everybody, welcome back to Fake Nerds Discussion. So this one is a little different in that it's not about a particular news subject or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to discuss, I guess, the vibes around gaming right now and kind of talk about two games in particular, Kingdom Come Deliverance, which if, you like it, you can check out the main channel where you get everything. I just put a video of my first like 15-ish hours and how I think it's a really incredible game. And then of course Avowed. So with Kingdom Come Deliverance and Avowed, there feels like there's kind of like a concerted effort to get people to dislike the series without necessarily even playing the games. I've received comments on the video that I made, and they've been like, this game, it's a flop, it's terrible." And like, one, if it's terrible, completely subjective, right? Like, it's a very specific type of game that maybe people aren't as into, but I've certainly found a lot of good stuff, and in my kind of review discussion about it, op-ed, I kind of talk about like how I'm like almost addicted to playing it, and I can't wait to fire up my PlayStation and go adventuring with Henry every day. And so, of course, I think it is quality, though I do recognize that's my bias towards it. Some people might not like how open-ended it is. Some people might not like the kind of difficulty of really having to struggle for everything, really feeling like you're a broke guy in this medieval town and you don't really have anything to your name except what you can hustle for. And then the combat is very difficult. And if you like play the game and you're like, this is not fun, this is not for me, that's completely fair and valid. But I feel like there's like this narrative started, and I think it like came about because people said that one of the characters in the game is based on somebody who, if it was this person, which it's not, it was just the inspiration for this character within the game who's like over 20 years old in the game, he would be underage if it was that person in this time period. But again, it's not. It's an inspiration for historical fiction. And the character in the game that this is like referencing is, you know, older than 20. So like that kind of like spun off of, I think, honestly, a bit of homophobia because you can romance this character with your main character, Henry. This was something that people wanted. People wanted choice in this very heavily based choice based RPG. There is a contingent of, I would say, like, I don't know what to call them, anti woke warriors who like have made it their mission to influence culture, specifically around gaming, and have labeled this game as like their enemy just because there's an option to hook up with this other fake character in the game. And, they wanted to say that's like, one, gross because it's, a gay romance, and two, gross because the person it's based on would have been underage. But this is a completely new character that is based off of, it's like if you made like a character in a fantasy story or in historical fiction based off like Joan of Arc, but it's not Joan of Arc, and you age them up, it's like, okay, well, that's, it's based on the real person for some of the stuff, but it's not the actual person, to be sure. Or like, Game of Thrones did a similar thing, actually. Like, the books have a lot of the characters younger. When we got a television show, they aged them up a lot, to kind of like meet the more sensibilities of, you know, a television audience, which I think was a smart move. And I think similarly, it is smart for Kingdom Come Deliverance to do this. So I feel like there's, people automatically judging that game for that. And then like another one that I've noticed is Avowed. People are very, very down on Avowed, willing to be like, this is a flop. People, if you like it, you're like an industry plant. And I need to make, for the record, I haven't played any Avowed. Not yet. I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance now. It's taking up all the time that I'm not making videos for our various channels. Like the free time that I want to dedicate to gaming, I want to dedicate to Kingdom Come Deliverance because, well, I'm very like a one-track mind gamer. Like if I have a game that I'm into, I want to see it all the way through before I start something else off, because if I do start something else, I'm way less likely to come back and actually finish that game. So Avowed's on the list. I have Xbox Game Pass. I've downloaded it. I'm ready to play it when I'm done with Kingdom Come Deliverance. And it seems like it's going to be like a very different type of a game. It might be like a good contrast to the way that Kingdom Come Deliverance is played out. So I'm excited for it from that point of view. But I feel like there's a lot of people, and I've seen them in other people's comment sections making videos who've labeled like, if you enjoy Avowed, you obviously are bought by Microsoft or Xbox, and that's the only reason why you could possibly enjoy it, rather than being like, hey, this is a game that if you have Game Pass, it provides a lot of value for the price of a month of Game Pass. And I've seen like a lot of people be like, hey, I really like Avowed. I probably wouldn't spend $70 on Avowed, but because it's on Game Pass, that makes it an easier buy for me. So I feel like both of these things kind of combine to this weird, I guess, undercurrent, or like something I've seen developing over the last few years, where it's like there's almost an anti-woke, or like, I don't want to say like grifter side of content creators who they all kind of have a somewhat groupthink, and they're like, we've decided that this game is bad. We're going to make videos about it's bad. We're going to cheer it on if it fails. And it's kind of created like this weird and very negative monoculture. And it's kind of bummed me out, right? Like, I think you can totally dislike any game. There are like popular games that I've played where it's just like, hmm, not for me. Happy that other people like it. And that's about where it ends. And then there are other like games where it's like other people will play it, Call of Duty, Madden, and they're like, I don't get this game. Why would you pay for this every year? But to me, it's worth it because I like it. I play it a lot. And I think we're kind of losing like the individuality that gamers kind of clung on to in favor of being part of an in group. And that in group is just like insanely negative, like, and wants to be negative about everything. Whereas, like, I think there's so much good to get out of games and like gaming. And obviously there's a lot of bad. I think a lot of like the more capitalist impulses surrounding the various ways that companies have decided to monetize, be that microtransactions or like cutting content from a full game in order to sell it back to the players later. That stuff's scummy, or like changing games from single player to live service, or foregoing single player games and having studios that have excelled at making single player games focus on these live service games because they represent the biggest chance to get a lot of money on the back end, which I think, has led to a lot of the negative things that we see in gaming, and why like people maybe aren't as hyped about gaming as they were in the past. That's my point of view. But at the end of the day, I think like if there's any kind of game that you even like somewhat want to try, you shouldn't allow the opinions of YouTubers to dissuade you from giving it a try. I mean, even me saying like I love Kingdom Come Deliverance, don't just take my word for it. Try it out. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. And most importantly, on that topic of conversation, if you don't like a game, totally valid, but don't allow somebody to tell you not to like a game just because their YouTube channel relies on getting clicks and getting hate clicks and getting people riled up, and then causing this kind of, negative culture to surround video games and make everyone angry and unhappy and dislike a hobby that they previously liked so that they can be part of the in group surrounding it. I've watched YouTubers who, I admired to start, who like maybe covered video games in similar ways that I do kind of fall down this rabbit hole of like everything sucks, gaming's in a horrible place. And sometimes I'm like, is it even possible that they aren't even playing these games and they're all just like agreeing that we hate this game and we're going to make content surrounding it because that's good for business? Something to consider, to be sure. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this for this week's fake nerd discussion. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you liked it. We got videos coming out on Weird Everything, Those Fake Nerds, Weird Sports, and Better Radio all the time during the week. So please check those out. I'll see you in the next one.